Hello. How is everyone tonight? Hope you guys are well. My name is Roxanne Francis, and I am social worker and psychotherapist, and I am the face behind Francis Psychotherapy. Tonight we're going to be talking about going after your dreams. Hey, how are you guys doing? Just trying to pin my title here tonight. Let's see how it goes. There. Hey, Sasha. How you doing? How do you say your name? Sasha or Sacha? So how are you guys doing? It was a little bit warmer today in good old Ontario, Canada. Let's see if anyone else joins us tonight. Sasha, yes. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. I believe we met last week Sunday. And, met virtually. I'm so glad that you were able to join me tonight. Let's see if anyone else joins in. How are you managing this pandemic life, this COVID lifestyle? My kids are not having it. They want it to be over. Well, what can we do? We can only do what we can. And right now, this is what we've been dealt. So we kind of just have to live with it. So tonight we're going to be talking about going after your dreams. It's been good. You're still working. That's good. So many of my clients, a number of them are still working, but a few of my clients have lost their jobs. Hello, come on through. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we're going to be talking about going after your dreams. It can be tough, you know. Sometimes you feel stuck. Sometimes you want to move forward, but you're not even quite sure how. Let me just turn down my tunes and we will just dive in. I don't want to waste anyone's time tonight. All right, so most of us have goals, right? Most of us want to move forward. We want to attain that thing, you know, but what if you don't have goals? It's okay if you don't want to reach after the next thing. That's fine. That's not everyone's thing. But many of us have goals and we want to go after something. Everyone's goal is different, you know. Not everyone's goal is to get that PhD or write a book or get discovered by somebody famous or get that big promotion at work. Some people's goals are different. Some people's goals are to attain mental wellness or get better skin tone or, you know. Tonight, we're not talking about goals like medical goals that I can't help with. We're not talking about dealing with infertility. We're not talking about that big, difficult illness going in remission. We're not talking about those goals, but we're talking about going after that thing that you want, going after the promotion. Hey, Brenda, thanks for joining. Come on through. We're talking about going after your dreams tonight. What if you want that promotion at work? What if you want that car? What if you want that house? Hey, Marcy, come on through. What if you want these big things and, you know, you feel stuck? You feel like you just can't make it. You feel like there's no point. You feel like I've been in this rut for so long. I've been in this dead-end job. I can't make it any further. Your situation, your obstacles seem insurmountable. And, you know, in some cases, there are real serious obstacles. And in other cases, sometimes the obstacles just seem insurmountable. And so tonight, I just want to talk a little bit about getting past some of those obstacles or finding our way around some of them or even digging a path through some of them, right? Some people have goals like going back to school, learning how to manage their anxiety and depression, launching your business, getting that big power position at work. You know, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious. You know, a while back when I was trying to find my way, I'm a bit of an ambitious person myself, and I wanted that next thing. And I was working in a nice job. I had a decent situation set up, and I was actually in the process of looking for a therapist that would fit me. And when I was meeting with someone for the very first time, she said to me, well, why can't you just be satisfied with where you are? And not that I didn't appreciate that question, but as I was trying to explain to her my ambition or my wanting to reach for more, she kept sort of pushing it in the corner like, you don't need any more. You don't need to go after anymore. You're just making your life more difficult. Well, I can tell you that now I have a different therapist because not that I didn't want to go where she was sort of leading me, but I felt like she was dismissing my ambition. And so one thing I would encourage for you is not to let anyone dismiss your ambition. Don't let anyone squash your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you it cannot be done. Um, don't let anyone tell you that, you don't have enough money or you're being unrealistic. If this is something that you want and you're willing to put the hard work in, I'd say go for it and see what happens, right? It's better to go forward for something and maybe miss that mark instead of living the rest of your life thinking, what if I had actually went for it, right? So I'd encourage you to do that. The next thing is that it can be discouraging if the things that you want seem so unattainable. And I'm not trying to make light of your situation. I know that there are real obstacles out there. Like if you're a single parent and you want to go back to school and you have no one to watch the kids, let's use that as an example. That can be a big deterrent, right? You want to go and get that project management certificate, but the classes are in the evenings after work and there's no one to watch the kids. I would say, look around you, look at your community. Do you have a parent close by that's willing, a parent that you have a good relationship with, that's willing to watch the kids after school? Do you have a cousin close by? Do you have, if you're in the church community, do you have someone from your church who's willing? Do you have the children's godparents who are close by? Can you pay someone? Is it possible? So I want you to sort of look at all the possibilities around you before you say it can't be done, right? Look how, turn every stone. Don't leave any stone unturned before you close the door on that and say, well, it can't be done. If you have something that you're aspiring to, I would say decide on what it is that you want and start taking the steps towards it. Sorry guys, I know I have all my thoughts, but I have notes, so I don't have it all up in here. So if you see me glancing to the side, that's what's happening. Take the steps towards the things that you want. I know so many people, I come across so many people who hope for this thing and they hope for that thing, and all that they do is hope. And the longer they hope, the more time goes by. The more time goes by and they haven't actually taken the step towards that thing, they get more and more discouraged and they begin to lose hope. And then they start using terms towards themselves like, I'm such a loser, or I'm a deadbeat, or I don't go after what I want. I would say go after the things you want. Try figuring out what are the steps that I need to take. So say, for example, you are at work and there is a position that you want, which is probably the next level or the next 2 levels above your position. I would say start looking at those people who are in the positions that you want to have and think to yourself, how did they get to where they are today? If these are people that you can talk to, I would say ask them, what are the requirements of getting this position? Do I need a certificate? Do I need 2 more years of experience? Do I need to participate in certain projects? Do I need to stick my head in certain meetings? Do I need to be at certain tables in order to get to that position or to get that promotion, right? Then, if they have shared, and once you have figured out what it is that is required of you, then I would say take the small steps to start to get there. Rome wasn't built in a day, and you're not expected to sort of do it overnight, but take the baby steps. So if you need another year's experience, then hold your head down, do what you got to do, and get that extra year's experience. If you need to participate in a certain project, find out what it takes to be sitting at those tables. If you need a certain certificate, is that something that you can do online? Is that something that you can do after hours, right? Try and figure out what it is that is required of you and see if you can start to get there. Let's see, start applying for jobs that you're hoping to get. Even if you don't get the position, The interview is going to be data for you that you can use. It's going to be a learning experience. So when you go for the next interview, you're a little bit more prepared. And I'll give you an example, a personal example of my own. There was a job that I wanted a number of years ago, and it was in a different company. And I was very pregnant with my second born, actually, and I went to test. You had to do a test. I went to test for this position, and they wanted to find out, how well suited I was and if I had the information that they would need for me to have. So I went to do the test, but I was very pregnant and very, very tired. I would get very tired very easily. I don't know if there are any moms on here if you can attest to that, but I was getting tired. And so I went to do the test, and to be honest with you, I don't even remember what I wrote because my mind was just gone. I remember the questions, but I don't remember the answers. And I wasn't called for an interview, and someone from the HR position called me and said, we are calling to give you feedback. You weren't selected for the interview because you fell down in this area and in this area. And I said, okay, fine, no problem. But then after my child was born, which was a number of months later, probably almost a year later, I noticed that that company that I had my eye on, they were advertising for that position again. And so I applied again with the very same resume, and I got selected again, and I got called in to do the test. And would you know it, almost a year later, there were the very same questions. And this time, your friend was not pregnant, and I had my wits about me, and I did that test, and I passed with flying colors. I got the interview, I got the position, and the rest is history, right? So I want you to understand that even if you don't get the position, you can use that information, that interview process, as data for yourself. Now, in case your goals are more along the lines of a mental health situation, let's say you have debilitating anxiety or depression, or you have trauma from, I don't know, some difficult situation in your younger years. These are things that can really set you back. They can prevent you from getting out of bed in the morning. They can prevent you from taking care of your children. They can prevent you from showing up reliably at work. These issues can prevent you from functioning. And I've come across a number of people who've had these issues. But what I want to say to you, if this is your situation, is don't let this prevent you from living your life. There's help out there. There are supports that are accessible. I would try to get yourself to your doctor. If this is a serious mental health issue, then I would ask for a referral to a psychiatrist, where you can get a thorough assessment. If medications are necessary, you take the medications. You do not have to suffer if medications are able to help you. I came across a diagram on the internet the other day that said, if you can't make your own neurotransmitters, then store-bought are okay. If you have a bake sale at your kid's school and you don't have time, or you can't make the cookies, and you go off to the grocery store and you get those cookies, no one cares, really, between the homemade and the store-bought. And I think the same should be true for serious mental health issues. If you can't make your own neurotransmitters, then the prescription will work, and the prescription is helpful. Outside of medication, I would say try to access some therapy or counseling. And I know that can be something that is, it can be difficult to access if you're not financially stable, or if you don't have the finances that it takes to access therapy. But there are a number of community agencies out there that provide therapy either for free or operate on a sliding scale where you pay what you can. And so ask, call, see what's out there and access it so that you can move forward with your health, with your mental health. So if that's a dream of yours, if your mental health is getting in your way of accessing those dreams, then address the mental health piece. Go after what you want. I think that this life is too short for us to sit back and think, well, I can't, or my mind isn't healthy enough. especially as it comes to mental health. There has never been a time, I think, in history where there's been so much support for accessing mental health supports and using mental health services. And I can only hope that the needle will move forward and forward in terms of progression, in terms of supports for mental health. Hi, Sinead. Thanks for dropping by. We're just talking about going after your dreams tonight. I think that there are tools out there to help you manage those mental health pieces, and I think you should go and access them. Um, Companies have benefit plans now that support mental health. Let's see what else. There are free supports out there. There are worksheets on the internet. There are people like me out here, giving you tips and tools on how to manage your mental health. So grab the freebies while you can. If you're on a wait list for a community mental health agency and they tell you have to wait 3 months, in those 3 months, open up your Instagram, open up your internet. There are very, very skilled therapists out there that are offering free tips and worksheets and suggestions and coping tools, so you can move forward. This is no longer the 1960s or the 1950s. You no longer have to suffer in silence. And I know that there's sometimes still a little bit of stigma around mental health, but hopefully we can move past that. But what I would say to that is, if you're worried about accessing therapy because you're afraid that your Aunt Sue and your coworkers and Sister Jones from church or whoever it is from the synagogue or temple, or wherever you worship, that they're going to judge you, what I would say to that is, they're not the ones suffering from depression. They're not the ones who can't get out of bed. They're not the ones who can't take care of their kids. So put that aside, put yourself first, go and access the supports that you need so you can move forward to getting your dreams and attaining those goals. All right, so that's my piece about the mental health. The other thing I would say is that, sometimes there is a bit of a wait. Sometimes you want to move forward with whatever it is that you want to move forward with, but now just doesn't seem to be the right time. What I would say to that is, do not despise the time of waiting. Waiting is something that a lot of people have to do. When, some people are waiting to get married. Some people are waiting to get into university. Sometimes people are waiting to get that big promotion. What happens in the wait? In the wait is when you prepare. Preparation is vital. If I could use the analogy of when someone is expecting a baby, no one goes to the doctor at 5 months and says, well, I'm tired of waiting. I'm ready for my C-section now. Because that baby isn't fully developed. That could put the life of the child at great, great risk. If this child comes forward when the time isn't right, we could damage the whole process, right? And so I would say to you, do not despise a time of wait. If you need to wait to get into university, what can you do while you're waiting? We wait for spring to arrive, but before those plants peek out of the ground, they are gathering all the nutrients. They're waiting for the soil to thaw. So when the flowers come out, they are absolutely beautiful. No one digs those suckers up before time, in the middle of winter, and say, where's my plant? That doesn't work. And so I would encourage you not to give up in frustration and impatience. Sometimes the timing just isn't right. It does not mean that your goal is inaccessible or unattainable. It just means that you have to wait. In the waiting process, this is when you prepare. Prepare your speech. If you're hoping to become a big keynote speaker, start writing your speech. If you are waiting to publish a book, start writing your chapters. Up in the middle of the night when everyone's sleeping, or first thing in the morning before everyone wakes up, you start writing. If you take the train to and from work, outside of COVID-19, write while you're on the train, or speak into your phone, get those chapters out. Do what you can. Save your money if you are hoping to purchase a home, or purchase a car. Start saving, start squirreling things away. Start, if you're waiting to have the perfect body, while you're waiting to do that, go to the gym, or, start eating healthier, or whatever that looks like. But start getting yourself ready. There's a phrase that says, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And what that means is there's going to be a time when that door is going to open suddenly. And when that door opens suddenly, are you going to be ready? So until that door opens, start doing the thing that you know you need to do. Save the money, start writing, start exercising, start practicing to speak in front of your mirror, sing in the shower, whatever that looks like, but you need to start preparing, my friend. Let's see, what else do I have to say on this? I don't have a crystal ball to tell you when your time is going to be right. The world will let you know. The stars will align, the prayers will get answered, the clouds will part, and the rain will stop. And one day you're going to look up and you're going to say, oh my goodness, I can actually apply for that program now. Whether it is that you're waiting for your kids to get to high school so you can leave them in the evening for a couple of hours to go to school, or whether it is you're waiting to have enough money in the bank account so that you can go to the car dealership and say, okay, I want my car. Whatever that looks like, one day you're going to walk down the street and there's going to be a for sale sign on that house that you were hoping for, and you won't have the money. So prepare and start getting ready. Start doing the things that you need to do. Call the people who are in the positions that you want. Phone a friend, the friend who is a few steps ahead of you. I can't tell you how many people, how many therapist friends that I have who are in this online private practice game. Well, not a game, but the online private practice business, the business of entrepreneurship. This is new to me. I've always been working for agencies for many years. I didn't know a whole lot about this. So what did I do? I called up all the people that I knew who were doing this well, who had time for me. I tried to access all the things that I could, everything that was out there for free. I accessed it. I called people and I said, how did you do this? And those people who were friends were willing to say, here's what I did. Here's what worked for me. Here's what you should avoid. Don't go there. Don't waste your time here. And that has been so helpful, right? And I started to gather that information before my step into entrepreneur land. And so when I was ready to make that step, I had those resources and I was ready. And so there are certain pitfalls that I think I avoided because I was able to gather information ahead of time. I have another case to share with you. I had a client that I was working with a number of years ago, and she worked for a municipality, and she drove for them. And she had a physical issue that was causing her to have trouble driving. And so there were a couple mishaps, and after a couple mishaps, she was actually let go from her position. And so she was then working from a minimum wage job. It was helping her meet the needs kind of barely for herself and her family. But when I met up with her, she kept saying to me, this isn't what I want to do. I don't like my job. It makes me so depressed. And I was saying to her, what is it that you actually want to do? And she said, well, I want to get back to driving. And I said, okay, what is getting in your way? And she said, well, I got let go from that position. And I asked her why. And she told me it wasn't for, due to any fault of her own. And so then I said to her, is there anyone in that municipality, in that department, who's willing to vouch for you? Because since then she had that medical situation taken care of. And so she said, yes, I'm healthy now. I have people there who are willing to be references for me. And so I said to her, okay, so what's getting in the way of you applying for a position in another municipality? And she sat back for a while and she thought, well, I just thought that it couldn't happen. And so we kind of got beyond that. And so she dusted off her resume. She applied for the position. She got the interview. They asked her why she was let go. She told them. She told them that she had rectified the medical issue that was the problem. She got hired, moved on to bigger, better position, benefits, no longer living sort of hand to mouth. I'm not saying that everything in your life is this cut and dry. What I'm saying to you is sometimes the veil that we have over our eyes are things that we kind of think are impossible to remove, and they're really just veils. If we just take our hand and pull the curtain away, we'll be able to see things a little bit more clearly, and we'll be able to move towards the things that we want. You know, sometimes the goals that we have are big goals. And when they're so big, we feel almost immobilized with fear. We'll get really anxious. Oh my goodness, that's so huge. It's just little old me. I can't do that big thing. My advice to you is to chunk it down into smaller pieces. What's the first step? You want to go do that PhD? What's the first thing that you need to do? What do you want to study? What do you want to research? Can you call the university and get some information? Go to the website, print off some stuff, and just review it, right? You don't have to, hey, Natasha, we're just talking about getting our dreams. We don't have to get the PhD tomorrow, but what is it that you need to find out, right? When is the deadline? What does the application look like, right? Take a look at that stuff and, what are the requirements? Oh, okay, well, I have this education, I have that education, well, I don't have that thing, and the deadline isn't until, well, I just missed the last deadline, so the next one isn't until, oh, so I actually have time to go get that thing. And even if the deadline is next week, the university isn't running away, right? There's going to be next year. So you'll have the time to pull together the things that you need, pull together the money that you need. What are the loans that I need to apply for? Sometimes finances can be a really big deal, and I get it. I don't have a money tree in my backyard either. But are there grants that you can apply for? Are there bursaries that you can apply for? Are there loans that you can apply for? I live in Ontario, and here those things exist. Bursaries, grants, loans, depending on your financial situation, of course. But see what's there. If there's a private course that you want to take, call up the person who's offering it and say, do you have a payment plan? Because my money only comes in this size. It doesn't come in extra large, right? And they might be able to work with you, right? You never know, and you won't know until you ask. Sometimes you just got to stick your neck out and see what happens. If we don't ask, the answer will always be no. When I was a little girl, I had a relative who would always buy the lottery. And I was always very intrigued by that. And what they said to me was, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. And you're right. If you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. If you don't have your foot in, there's no way you're going to access it. If you don't apply for the job, you will always be sitting there thinking, man, I wish I had that position. A number of years ago, I was in supervision with my supervisor, and she said to me, with supervision was over, we were just kind of shooting the breeze, and she said, so what do you want to do with yourself? And I said to her, I want your job. And she kind of, sat back a bit, but she was a lovely enough person so that she started putting my name forward to sit at certain tables, to participate in certain committees. And I would say to her, what are you doing? And she said, you want my job? You need to start getting people to recognize you. You need to start sitting at certain tables. You need to start having lunch with these people, right? You can't have lunch in the corner anymore. You need to start putting yourself out there. Hey, Charisse, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. We're just talking about attaining our goals tonight. So if there are things that you want out of life, my friend, I say to you, go after it. Stake your neck out. Make the sacrifice. If it means that you have to uproot your little family and move to the suburbs because living in the city is too expensive and you have certain financial goals and dreams, if it means that you have to live in, an apartment or something like that, sometimes you have to make the sacrifice to go after what you want. You don't have to drive a flashy car now. If you have a vehicle and it can take you from point A to point B without breaking down every 5 minutes, I say get the smaller car, get the cheaper car until you can actually afford to get what you want. Sometimes you have to, what is it that they say? I forget the phrase. If you remember it, let me know. Sometimes you have to um, do what you, I forget. I'm having a brain freeze, but something like do what you can until you get what you want, something like that. But yeah, do that. Do what you can right now until you can actually get what you want. I had a young friend a number of years ago. We were at a talk, and the speaker swooped in with all these wonderful accolades, and thank you. You knew I needed to hear this. We as therapists tell others this all the time. It's true. Sometimes people say things and I'm like, I tell people this all the time. Hey, Jenny's, come on in. Yeah, I think that, yeah, so as I was saying, my friend and I, she was younger than me, and I think I was in grad school or something at the time, and we were at a talk, and the speaker came in. She had all these accolades, and she was dressed to the nines, and she gave a fantastic speech. And when the speech was over, she was walking towards her Benz in the parking lot. And my young friend was talking to her, saying, I just want to get to where you are. And the speaker said, okay, so what are you doing to get to where I am? And she said, well, I'm working at, whatever retail store. But she wanted something bigger for her life. And the speaker said to her, okay, so what's the next step? And she said, well, I probably have to go to school, but I can't afford it. And the speaker said, this is Ontario. You can apply for a student loan. And she said, well, yeah, but I don't want the debt. And the speaker looked at her and said, do you want to move forward with your life or not? Unfortunately, debt is a part of life. And for many of us going to school, we have to apply for loans. When you get the big job, you can start to pay those loans back, right? But sometimes you got to do what you got to do and bite the bullet and go for it. Tamara says, do what you have to do now so you can do what you want later. Yes, exactly. You are your own investment. Say that again. You are your own investment. That's right. If you don't go after what you want, who's going to do it for you? You have to invest in yourself. And I know there's a loved one on here who was saying to me earlier this week that she wants to move forward in management. I think you said HR management. I'm not going to say who you are, but you know who you are. What do you think you're doing towards moving towards that goal? I know that you have kids, and it probably requires going back to school. And I know that money is an issue. What are some things that you think that you might be able to do? Maybe we can talk offline. What are some things that you might be able to do to sort of move towards that goal? Can you take the course? I don't know if it's a certificate program or a degree program. Can you take them one course at a time? It might take a whole lot to go full-time into school, but can you take it one course at a time? Can you take it 2 courses at a time? What can you afford? Can you take one course now and another course a little bit later? I know that you're brilliant, and I know that you have skills, so you can do this. And I know that money can be an issue, but is there a way that you can get a loan? Can you talk to the bank? Can you talk to the program? Can you pay in installments and see what can come of that? I encourage all of you, do not let this life pass you by and suddenly you're 65 thinking, I wish, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. We don't want to be singing those in 25, 30, 35 years from now. I was going to say something and it completely left me. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Break it down so it can be a bit more attainable. Yeah, break it down if you can. You want to know that you did everything in your power to get what you want out of life. And listen, I'm going to say this again. I said it at the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. Don't let anyone tell you that what you want is too much for you. Don't let anyone tell you that your dreams are too much or too big. You are too ambitious. We don't have time for that. Look into what it is that you want from your life. Go after it with all you have, even if it's a little bit at a time. You guys, we can do this. We are going to change the world. This world is, this is our time. And, I know that everyone doesn't have the same resources, but see what you can do a little bit at a time. I am a Jamaican woman, and back home, they say one cocoa, full basket. And that means you can't fill your basket all at once, but if you put things in a little bit at a time, eventually it'll be full. Guys, don't stop gathering. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, Tamara says they're projecting their own fear. Yes, when people tell you it can't be done, they're projecting their own fears on you. We don't have time for that. We are done living small. Go after what you want. Thank you for joining me. I don't take it for granted that you choose to spend your time with me. I've had you here for 37 minutes, and I know you guys have a life to live. So thank you for coming through. Tell your friends and neighbors to catch my replay. Sharon, you joined just as I'm wrapping up. Well, you're going to be able to catch the replay. But thank you guys for coming through. I really, really appreciate it. Go after your dreams, guys. This life is too short, and we don't want to live a life full of regrets. Love you. See you guys next Wednesday. Don't forget to join me here. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Afterthought. Cheers.